3.
It's your boy Young Love, I give him that thing. Pancho leg stand and punchy America, Panya Dual, Banaban, Pancho leg stand and punchy America, Panya Dual, Banaban, walk on the lake, Kankara water no watching, Oga level leg, gear, pow, very leg, Panda with Yay, Punchy America, Panya Dual, Bano, Chingatonga Pandon, could you ever buy a check out, Papu Panda Jiro, what they be, Dual venting. Stand and punchy America, Panya Dual, Banaban, Pancha leg stand and punchy America, Panya Dual, Banaban, walk on the lake, Kankara water no watching, Oga level leg, gear, pow, very leg, Panda with Yay, Punchy America, Panya Dual, Bano, Chingatonga Pandon, could you ever buy a check out, Papu Panda Jiro, what they be, Dual venting.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you, our viewers around the world. Today, 11th of June, 2022. We happy to host guest speaker, Honorable Juol Nhomngek, whom I will give the floor to Secretary General Majok Makur to welcome Honorable Juol and introduce him, and then I will read out the topic of the day. Majok for that.
Yeah, thank you, Isaac. To all our viewers across the globe, welcome to Lagos State Media Beyond Boundaries. And today, we are going to have a conversation with our national MPs, Honorable Juol Nhomngek from SPLM-IO party, Choibet County, and alongside his friend or his colleague, Honorable Bol Agau from NDM party, that is National Democratic Movement, Joul West County. And basically, as we announced 2 days ago, that we will have conversation and discussion with them in regard to the three topics. The first topic to be tackled was the issue of scandals, which Honorable Juol Nhomngek was very vocal for the last 1 month. There was a scandals of South Sudan National Revenue Authority of 24 billion South Sudanese pound. Honorable Joul will tackle that, and he will elaborate more and let South Sudanese know why and how did he manage to get this information. Then the second topic is the topic that all of us are aware of, and it has been on the public domain for the last 3 months, a very controversial topic, and that is Jonglei Canal project, which has now been narrowed down to dredging of the Nile tributaries, of which we have seen machine being imported from Egypt, and they were received majestically by the state governor of Unity State. And yesterday, but one, we have read at the courtesy of iRadio that the state government is ready to carry on with the dredging. And we have seen the numerous press made by the stakeholders, right away from the office of president to the office of the Minister of Environment and Forestry. Likewise, the clarification from the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation in regard to who signed and who is behind this project. So in the studio here, we have Honorable Joel, and to our viewers, you are all welcome to listen to their views, and you are entitled also to pose any of your questions if you want to ask them. And my brother Isaac will be monitoring your questions, and he will be in a position to pose them and forward them to our guests so that they can answer your question. Lastly, Honorable Bol Agau will join us shortly, and he will find us on our way. So, Honorable Juol Daniel, you are welcome to Lagos State Media, and the floor is yours. Give us your opening remark before we move on to our topic of the day. You're welcome, Honorable.
Thank you very much. As you have heard, my name is Juol Nhomngek. Originally, I've been called Daniel Juol Nhomngek, but in Kenya, when you are registering for the final examination, you change the name. So my name became Juol Nhomngek Daniel, but my original name was Daniel Juol Nhomngek. So that is why whenever you get that name, Juol Nhomngek Daniel, Daniel is my name, and Nhomngek is my father, and Juol is my original name. So I would like to appreciate the Lagos State media for it has been struggling to get me, but because in South Sudan the issues to do with logistics are hard, like you are not able even to access the media, and sometimes you can be caught up somewhere. The mean of travel sometimes within the city are somehow difficult because the oil has also added its own war. Now you get the transport has gone up. There is no money. There is no inflation. So you will never get how things are going, but the things are dis- disconnected in a way that you will not understand what is happening. But we have to push on. So otherwise, I would like to apologize to all or to say I'm sorry to all the viewers because they have been informed several times, like 2 weeks ago, that we will be talking to them. But up to today, we have been trying, but we were not able to talk to them. But today is an opportunity to speak to them, even if I may not be knowledgeable in all the areas I'm going to talk about, but they have to bear with that limitations, and they will be asking for clarification. And if we are able to do it, I can, and then I will do more research again because I teach in university and I do some research a bit. So I will still go on for research and we have another time to speak so that the people can understand. The problem in South Sudan is that population is detached from the government. So people don't understand what is happening in the government. And it's like a crime when you are speaking to the people, they say you are overthrowing the government because they are fearing that the people may know what is happening and they will rise against the government. But our population cannot rise. The best thing they can do is to question the government. But people have power because not even politicians. Politicians have been using people to fight against the government, and government has been using the people to fight against the opposition. But the whole thing is that as the people, if they understand now to tell the opposition that you are wasting our time and to tell the government that you are misleading us, what we need as people of South Sudan is this one. You will see the country move in a certain direction which they want. They know it, but they are not able because they are not empowered. But information is power. Otherwise, I would like to appreciate everybody, and we shall be talking. Anybody who wanted something to be said or wanted more information, we can try our best to give it, even if we may not satisfy everybody. Otherwise, thank you very much for your patience. which I'm now ready to speak to you as long as the internet may not disappoint us again.
Thank you so much, Honorable Daniel Juol Nhomngek. Thank you for that. And we all understand the situations of our country, and it is sometimes very good for some of you as parliamentarians always have time to discuss and talk to South Sudanese and also educate them, as we believe that the saddest thing anybody can do to its citizen if you are a leader is to keep them in darkness or in ignorance for them not to know the truth or what is happening in your government or in your leadership. And then you are doing injustice to your own people and you are committing a crime against humanity. So sometimes it's very important for citizens to be enlightened and for them to know information, because information, many people are the scholars has demonstrated it several times that information is power, and it is a tool that you can use to reorganize yourself in order to move forward. Thank you so much, Honorable. We always appreciate for you making time and always trying to make sure you come to the platform such as this and talk to South Sudanese. As we are waiting for your colleague, Honorable Bol Agau, to join us, we
Thank you
will
very
start with the topic here, of which you yourself was one of the first people who came out publicly and aired out the NRA scandals. You said it, and it was published by the Down newspapers on 24th of May 2022 that there were 24 billion South Sudanese pounds that was pocketed by individuals and the top officials in South Sudan National Revenue Authority. So basically, we will love you to elaborate more and let public know, and how did you arrive to such information. And remember, in our country, information are very crucial, and they protect them a lot for the information not to get out. Honorable, you can take your time.
He fall off
Sorry.
the network. Yeah, he is fall away.
Yeah, sorry to our audience. We all understand there are challenges when it comes to internet connectivity in our country. So this is how we always manage it if we have any guests from Juba. But thank God they always try their level best despite the challenges of connection. Let's hope for the best. He will come back and he will join us shortly. While we are waiting for him, let me remind you once again that you are entitled also to pose any questions that you need our parliamentarians to clarify it and also to educate us about. Because many South Sudanese are wondering what is happening in the parliaments of 500 MPs since they were inaugurated on the 2nd of August 2021. Citizens had a lot of hope that there are some things that will be set straight by the parliament. And now it is your chance as a South Sudanese to question them, and they will be in a position to answer you. The two guests that we have invited, Honorable Bol Agau and Honorable Juol Nhomngek. By the way, they're from different parties, and someone may ask, why are we not inviting anybody from the main SPLM, which people refer to as SPLM-IG?
Yeah.
We invited several of them, but I don't know what normally happens. They always keep promising us that they will join, and unfortunately, nobody is standing up. But we will insist and we will continue persuading them. Maybe some of them might accept our invitation and come on the platform such as this to debate with their counterpart within South Sudan or within the parliament. because South Sudanese citizens need information more than ever currently. That's what I can still add while we are waiting for him. Isaac?
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, thank you so much. We regret the network in Juba is not that good. While we're waiting, we know we will be playing some song.
Kang Achiriel Koga with honorable Nirga Kang Achigal Abaga with General Lankul Abang with your lawyer, Abang with your quell Matulumin, Nache Queen, Palasanin, Nache Queen Rane Buinale, Num Koj Kalover under the Ting Chiding Wen Kake Kajola Yung Nong Guru Koku Warka Kenta Akai Nim Kujal Kitanyina Nyot Elani Lele Yingwen Lele Rande de Yingwen Moinjing Apinye Yingwen Buwil Jalia Chababa O Katirut E Meta Benane Rapti We're not chin woolen yet Botambe Chin Nankul Yet Botambe Lagnas Yamdu Bo Martin Lagan or Bokang Nim Bukang Junuba Kayat Na Leli Bukay White Na Biada Kay Yingon the White Na Lelu Yingon the White Kiran Wen Miran Leli Kuleda White Watao Baya White in a Juul, do Kaben Guy, Kangachila, you did chin, you general, away general, that you don't chin, who honorable, away honorable, you coin, in general, away general, in a Koge, who honorable, away honorable, you coin. Diara Poke, Anong Louis, good thing, application of Gatatil, who photocopy, Shadat. Which go on Malga back by so come on the kid or so for I judge him Koya Baget on Minataka General Jamgain. Wetaka Nachiriel Koga with honorable Niraka Nachigal Abaga with General Lankul Abang with your lawyer, Abang with your well Matulumin, Nachi Queen, Palasanin, Nachi Queen Rane Buinale, Num Koj Kalover under the Ting Chiding Wen Kake Kajola Yung Nong Guru Koku Warka Kenta Akai Nim Kujal Kitanyina Nyot Elani Lele Yingwen Lele Rande de Yingwen Moinjing Apinye Yingwen Buwil Jalia Chababa O Katirut E Meta Benane Rapti We're not chin woolen yet Botambe Chin Nankul Yet Botambe Lagnas Yamdu Bo Martin Lagan or Bokang Nim Bukang Junuba Kayat Na Leli Bukay White Na Biada Kay Yingon the White Na Lelu Yingon the White Kiran Wen Miran Leli Kuleda White Watao Baya White
Yeah.
Yes, I told you
Honorable
the
Daniel.
internet just went
thank,
off.
thank you, thank you, Isaac, for that song. Actually, I enjoyed that song a lot. There is a lot of meaning and there is a lot to learn in that song because it's stated very clearly: if you speak, you will still be Gwaj. If you
Keep quiet.
lie, you can still be Gwaj. If you keep quiet, still there is no shortcut. Literally, the song is telling us that the only solution is for us to talk even, because sometimes it's good to die while talking when you know you're right. So, Honorable, we are sorry for that inconvenience. You can take your floor and answer the question.
Okay, as I told you before when I was making a statement, the internet is unstable here, and as I was speaking, the internet just went off. I have to run again to buy some data to come and subscribe in order to make it to talk. Otherwise, I'm sorry to all viewers who have been interrupted from seeing what is happening. And this time, we're going to tell the truth. And that is nothing but the truth. Because in South Sudan, people don't even understand what is happening. That is why you have even understood from that song. You don't know what is the right thing to do. You suffer whether you are doing right thing or you are doing bad thing to please anybody, you will still suffer. So you don't know exactly what is happening. Otherwise, I would like to appreciate everybody. And now we have to go back to begin afresh from the beginning so that people can follow. This internet will take me some time now speaking because I have bought enough data.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable. Yeah, that is true because most of South Sudanese need information now. That is the only thing you MPs of our country we can get from you. Just mere information. Then what to do with it will be the upon the citizen. Thank you for that. Basically, our first question while we are waiting for your colleague is the issue of South Sudan National Revenue Authority scandals, which was published by Down newspaper on 24th of May 2022. And according to the Down newspaper, it indicated that there were 24 billion South Sudanese pound which were distributed or maybe being squandered by the top officials of National Revenue Authority. And you were one of the few MPs who were so vocal against corruption. So kindly, can you explain to the public which metric did you use or which method did you use to arrive to this conclusion of 24 billion South Sudanese pound? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. I would like to tell the viewers that whatever I will speak here, I will talk based on my knowledge and the information from the source. And they have to rely on it because South Sudan, the only way we can be free in South Sudan is for everybody to be free in mind so that they are able to speak their mind and take an action accordingly. Action does not mean you take arms. Action means you question whoever is in the authority and be serious about it. Once they know that you are serious, they will come out and implement what you want. That is, you even saw it in different occasions. When a certain critical issue comes out and citizens are asking about that issue, the president will come out to say, like Was it 2 years, 3 years ago, or 4 years ago when it was said that the president is dead? What did the president do when there are so many questions? He came out and said, I'm not dead. This means that the information and the citizens have power. At the same time, when in 2020, when it was said president is sick and has gone, has left the country without the knowledge of the people, he came out again and said he did not, he was still in the country. He did not, he did not leave and he was not sick. This is the indication that if citizens were able to ask their government officials, they will be able to push forward the reforms which we are fighting for. So coming to the issue of National Revenue Authority, the, the National Revenue Authority, if you talk of the truth, that is the main source of revenues in South Sudan. Leave oil alone. If we can manage this source clearly, this country can be developed even without oil money. But because oil money is quick to get in bulk, we have been told oil, and there are people who are taking these local revenues. And according to our law, the Constitution of South Sudan, Article 77, Article 177, if you read, you will get the source of natural revenue. When we trace all these sources, you will be able to know how much is collected per month in South Sudan. So I have been doing this for several months, trying to assess from different sources. And in last month, in May, we were able to get the printout from NRA, because in South Sudan, everybody is not happy with the system. So what they do, they cannot hide information from you, provided you protect them. So they printed out the, the month, 4 months only, from January to February. From January to April. They printed that money, and when you add it all, because in the month of January, the National Revenue Authority collected 7 billion. In month of February, they collected 5 billion. And then in month of March, they collected 5 billion. And then in the month of April, they collected again 7 billion. It went up. And I think it's going up. It is within that range. So when you add it all, you can come to that conclusion that within 4 months, there was 24 billion as South Sudanese pounds that was collected and misappropriated. We are talking of being misappropriated because if the government is not able to show us where is this money, then it means they have stolen the money. You don't need to go and prove. Because this is the whole thing in South Sudan. South Sudan, somebody can steal money. When you say, where is the money? They will say you have accused us falsely. But they are not able to justify how did they spend that money. It's just simple arithmetic. You don't need to go and prove, yet you are not in control. The power of the citizens is to ask the government, what did you do? What have you done with the resources? And the government has to justify through accountability, even auditing. After auditing, the government will be able to prove the citizens wrong, that we have not done anything, but this is how the money was allocated. Otherwise, in South Sudan, there is a lot of money, and that is how we came. The printing, there was the printing done in the NRA by NRA staff. They gave us that copy, and we cannot say the staff, even we have not mentioned the name and will not mention it. We have to protect them, and we continue to collect more information. And it is up to the public to know and to ask their government officials, those who were elected in 2010 up to now, what have they been doing? Their duty, as you have said, any government, the role of a government is to make sure that people understand, because the politics has nothing to do with the politicians and politicians, something to do with the politician competing for the public opinion. Whoever the public will think that is the right person, the public will elect that person. Have you seen they are now speaking of going for election? Who is going to elect them? Are not the politicians in the parliament, or are not the politicians in towns, but they will go back to those citizens. And it is good for these citizens to know that their problems are not the problem. I have been saying this even in Lagos State before Rin was appointed. I've been saying that the problem in Lagos State are not the citizens, are not Agar and Gok, are not Real or a Twot and a Puck or a Twot and Agar Rumbegis. They are not the problems. The problem is the government. So the citizens must know and question. And there is a massive corruption in South Sudan, we cannot lie. And this is like a weapon of mass destruction because it is destroying the citizens. You cannot get services like in the parliament. The recent MP Agiwagi, late Agiwagi, died in Egypt. He has never been given money. But after he died, the system now released $30,000 or more to bury him. Now, how can you think of the system that can relate to the dead without servicing the people? And I have been talking about this even in the parliament. Sometimes we are sold to the public that these people are fighting for their own interest in the parliament. But my argument has been that if these members of parliament are not empowered to become financially free, they will never fight for the rights of the citizens. That is just simple. This is why I have been, whenever they hear me fighting in the parliament, even the speaker herself has been saying, now, as nationalists, we need to work for free, but they are not working for free. They always get this money on trips. After that, they put it in an account and come and operate. This is in South Sudan. People have come up with different ways of stealing money, which is very smart.
Sorry, Honorable, for cutting it short. I'm just here to let our viewers know and welcome your colleague, Honorable Molana Bol Agau. You're highly welcome and thank you for joining us. So we have just started, and the first question is the question which you refer back to him during our previous discussion, the questions of NRA scandals. So he's the one that is answering, then we'll move on after that. Thank you for coming. Go on, Honorable.
Yes, it is good that Honorable has come. Honorable is one of the MPs that have been doing a lot of research because he has a lot of connections within the system. He can get any information that anybody cannot get normally. So I appreciate that you have welcomed him, and he's my friend. We do one thing. Even if we have not planned and come up with the topic, he will agree and I will agree. Because we don't have anything to sit down and think that what are we going to do, because we don't have conflict of interest. Otherwise, he's here, he will be adding or will correct anything I have said, but he will not, I'm sure he will not correct much, but he will add much. So I was talking of South Sudan. When you talk of corruption, corruption is almost like in the DNA of South Sudanese. Why am I saying I'm not destroying the names of the country? But if we don't understand all these issues, we'll never move forward because of the following. One, the system is established around individuals. We have strong men and women, not a strong system. This always gives these leaders an opportunity to steal and to make sure that citizens do not understand what is happening. You go in all the areas, even you have had different contracts being signed. The signing of these contracts is done even by office manager. But when the issue comes up, the leader will say, no, I don't have opinion, as you have had in the office of the president. These Egyptians have been going around, which I'll come to that topic, but I'm using it as an example. These Egyptians have been going around, the Egyptian ambassador plus the government officials from Egypt have been going around from one office to the other, trying to negotiate this issue of Nile at backdoor. Now the issue came to light, every office is denying, another office is trying to condemn. But how can the government of another country reach to that extent of doing a national or coming up with a national project without the knowledge of the government officials? The only thing is that the system is in a way that they can dodge because there is no system that can hold people accountable. People are like the system, so they can hold themselves. When it comes to the issue of NRA, there are many sources, as I have already said, in our constitution, Article 77, listed sources. And according to the taxation law, you only collect revenue from what is legislated. You don't just go to anywhere. But in South Sudan, when you go into the reality, you get a lot of money being collected because there is no control. There is over taxation, there is double taxation, which are prohibited by law. But in South Sudan, they are not prohibited, which means we are collecting more revenue than any other country. And you saw it in NRA. So what we are saying here is that there is no control. The major sources like the customs, the border entry to the country, a lot of money is being obtained there by the police. A lot of money is being obtained there by the police who are working at the custom and migration, but they are not accountable to NRA unless recently they have been put under NRA and they have not yet reported. But it always goes to the police. At the same time, you talk of this NCA, which is National Communication Authority. It has been collecting a lot of money, but individual has been using it, the one in charge of that section. You talk of the airport, it's being privatized. The money is not being collected. And that is coming in almost millions, if not billions of dollars a month. All these issues, they go undressed because there is no system. Individuals are the system. And that is why you see us fighting. We cannot leave South Sudan to go anywhere. But we have to say it to the public. Because when we are speaking to the public does not mean we are destroying the country. But we need the system to be established. And the people who can help to establish this system are the people themselves, citizens of South Sudan. So what we are trying to say is that when we are speaking, the National Revenue Authority need to be strengthened. We need to have a single account for the national revenue so that it goes there under the control of Ministry of Finance. At this time, the Ministry of Finance, even the Minister of Finance, you heard him speaking out, does not have control over money. There is another office which is in control of money. And this office need to understand that legally in the system established, because managing money is not like managing cows. In cows, you can go and milk your own cows. When they are not, you are not able to milk it on that day, you will come on the following day and get the milk. But in issues of money, you must manage it and save it well for you to continue producing. Otherwise, you manage money like cows, you will end up with a bankrupt country. And almost South Sudan is like that. And we need to work hard, not because there is no question that there is no money. There is money, but the mismanagement is being considered as if we don't have money. And the only thing is to make sure this money is managed well. We have been looking at national security. National security is supposed to help us to hold these individuals who are misusing money illegally, to hold them accountable, because that is a threat to national security. But it's not defined well. We need to talk to national security to make sure that individuals who are corrupt, we have to say like what one of the judges in Uganda said, corruption is a weapon of mass destruction, because without delivery of services, hospital sick people will die. The government services will not go anywhere. So many people will die. Like South Sudan today, there are many crises around the country, but they are not being controlled or approached well because of corruption. So we need the greatest enemy in South Sudan is corruption. Otherwise, to make it short so that my brother will come or to entertain other questions, is one, South Sudan has a lot of local revenue compared even to oil. If you can even say to hell with oil and you close it down and deal with the oil, local revenue, you can pay the working force. At the same time, you can invest. You can invest in different sections and you develop without even going to oil. But now oil money is not coming. But where does it go is the question. Nobody will answer unless the office of the president will address the nation and say, from today, I have taken the responsibility, the money should go to the finance. That is when you will see that answer coming. Otherwise, then we were making that statement of 24 billion being misappropriated because you saw there are some people who are collecting taxes, that money. They collected and subtracted up to 89%. Individuals collecting the tax and pay themselves to that extent, and the nation will goes only with 11 billion. I mean, with 11%, which is less than 1 billion. And you say there is no money. There is enough money. 1 month you can get enough money to pay the workers. But now workers plus National Army have been going month for month without being paid. Our national heroes, or those who are fighting, like you have heard recently, the child of Bol Madud, those 2 children are in orphanage, and the government is there. Bol Madud has contributed and is lying down there, but now he died. You have got those people who are opposing the SPLM themselves, those of Bol Madud. They are the one now is still opposing. You have seen Lual Ding is lying down. He died in a happy man because some people are there. We need to define these issues.
Honorable Juol Nhomngek, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm not cutting you, but I have to go to my colleague and the host of tonight, Majong Makur. You have to have a minute for anybody who is talking so that his minute or her minute are finished. So you need to let him know that because we have time, yeah, Prem. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let me just make sure that my brother would come. I would like to say that we need to be serious. MPs need to be serious to work. That is why we are speaking. People have been warning us that it is dangerous, but we said whether you die in silence or die talking is the same, because the death is death. But we have to do right thing. That is what we are saying. Because we are not against anybody, but we are correcting the system. Anybody who will block us not from talking because he's not a system, then he's an enemy to people of South Sudan. That is all. And that is what I've said. If people need to question anything, I will answer it. Otherwise, I'll give you a chance to ask me or to go to give it to my brother.
Thank you, Honorable Juol Nhomngek. You have mentioned a lot of points in regard to this new disease that have actually engulfed the entire country of South Sudan called corruption. You are right. Non-oil revenue can pay the entire civil servant of the country, and some money can still be reserved in government account. If we are told all stakeholders can work accordingly, that is good. Number two, you have mentioned it, it is a right of citizens to hold their government accountable. But the issue of South Sudan is contrarily different from what we know. And that is why some media platform and you MPs are trying so hard to make sure our citizen gets what is right. And they also need to be sensitized. They also need more civic education, at least for them to know what is their right and their power. Because the power of citizens is even beyond the power of those who are leading them. But the issue, we have not realized where our power is. Thank you for that, for those remarks. Let me move to Honorable Bol Agau. You're welcome. Last week you talked about this topic, but still you can weigh in before I move to the follow-up questions, which are only two. We are not hearing you, Honorable. We are still not hearing.
Hear me now?
Yes, yes, you are clear now.
Okay, then I think the headphones had issues.
That's true.
Thank you for having me this morning again. I would like to know who are on the panel. I have seen Majok Makur, who else is on the LSM media, is Honorable Juol Nhomngek. Is the chairman around? Is Isaac Tiangpol around?
Yeah, Isaac is around, but on the background, just monitoring the
On the
comments
back.
down. Yes, and
Oh,
Agar.
wonderful.
Isaac
So
Chiang,
there is
Isaac Chiang is not around, Honorable
Agar
Bol
Ding.
Agau. Isaac Chiang is here with
Yes.
us, yeah, but he's doing something else, so he will come. He will come before the end of the show. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I would like to appreciate you again, Agarding and Majong Makur, my colleague, Honorable Juol Nhomngek. It is a great pleasure that we are both here together today because the other time we were waiting for you, you couldn't make it, and now you are the first to make it to the studio, and I have joined you. I appreciate your discussions, though I did not catch up from the first minutes. I know what you are talking about. It is what I was asked last week, and it is the same that I wanted to just have a 2-minute comment. You know, I would talk about the same which I told you about the NRA. The NRA, in my more research after my conversation with you last week, I found out they have a fortnight remittance. A fortnight remittance to mean that after every 14 days, within a month, a remittance of NRA has to be with the Minister of Finance so that they plan for the payments of operation costs for different institutions, and specifically the expanded presidency, where 5 presidents, the president and his vice presidents, have to be supported so that they run their offices, and the huge demand of money in those offices. Though what the Honorable Joel was saying, that the remittances were not enough because of individual in the middle. Some of them are said to have provided the taxation equipment and production of homes, which are actually more expensive than the collected money, because if you lose 89% of the amount collected, it means you are collecting for the private person rather for the government, and the government only takes 11%. In my conversation with one of the NRA staff, he told me it would not be logical to say that 24 billion is lost to corruption. It might be less than that because 24 billion is a collection of 4 months. The maximum collected money is always 7 billion, and the minimum is 5 billion. So assume there is an average of 6 billion monthly. It would be 24 times 6, which makes 24 billion. That means 4 months collections have disappeared. And if that happens, I told you the other time, the most vulnerable institutions would start first with the presidency. And the presidency will, the only solution they give to those under them, like the ministers, the commissioner general, the deputy commissioner general, if such a mega corruption happened within 4 months, they will remove, they will relieve the commissioner general and the deputy commissioner general. The minister of finance will be sacked immediately, unless they are conniving together to know that, to have the money, the 24 billion, being deposited somewhere in silence, and then the only people suffering are the civil servants, which actually is the truth, because the civil servants are going for 4 months, 5 months now without being paid. Counting June, it will be the 6th month, because it is within this week that the month of January and February salaries were processed. Still, they have not received them because of the banking system. Those who might get their money will be from Monday, Tuesday. So if people who should be paid that money were not paid for 5 months, Joel would be in a way that he might be right, because money is going to individuals because 5 month collection has not been realized in the salaries. So where does that money go? That money is collected, yes, by the NRA, but where is it is the question. So looking into the books, you find the 4 months would be 6 billion times 4, which makes 24 billion. So if it has come to NRA, from NRA to the Ministry of Finance, then where is it is the question, because there is no major payment made to the civil servants, and the army is already is threatening that after 3 weeks they might take their guns and go to Konyo market and get into the stores and get their own food so that they feed their families, because there's nothing coming. They don't have the tie-in, which was procured by one of the businessmen. They don't have they don't have the salary, which if it is even there, the salary cannot take you to Konyo, because it is a salary of 2,300. Even if it is paid 10 months, it will be still 26,000, which can only buy you two items. One, a sack of flour. Two, a 20 kg of beans or lentils. Without the oil, and you cannot find what you cook it with, like saying you cannot buy charcoal so that you start cooking. Now with that, I would say what is happening in our state is, I was hearing you saying that corruption is a new thing. No, corruption is not new. Corruption was a small dragon in the SPLA. It was a baby dragon. Now it has grown to a full dragon. It is threatening everywhere. It is an animal that was fed by the SPLA, SPLM right from 1983. Even we can even say the SPLA, SPLM, what generated the discord from 1983, 16th May. Some of those who started the first bullet were accused of disappearing with the money of the army, and to confuse the situation. The SPLA, SPLM sprang out from the dirt of corruption. So the corruption is not a new thing in South Sudan. It has been there and it is continuing because there's nobody fighting it. People are fighting it in words. You would hear the head of the state saying, zero tolerance to corruption. But it ends where he has been speaking. If it is at the Dr. John Garang Mausoleum's speech, it will end there. If it is in a cabinet speech, it will end there. If it is an addressing the parliament, it will end in the parliament. But as we speak, but as we speak, yeah, something happened.
Go ahead. It's all right.
As if the corruption that happens in South Sudan has never been punished. Can someone show me someone who has been prosecuted for corruption crimes? No one, nobody. And there will never be anybody as long as the regime is on. It is only maybe after the SPLM regime that is where you will find that somebody is punished for punishing the public, because corruption is a public punishment, including the innocent ones. If you find out that there is an individual that was prosecuted, convicted, imprisoned according to the law, you'll have to tell me, but I don't know anybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Bol Agau, for that well-articulated response and remark that you gave in regard to the issue of corruption. You stated clearly, and I agree with you. It was yesterday when we were debating on Clubhouse, and there were some former SPLA soldiers, formerly and currently known as Lost Boys. Most of them were like, there were no corruption during the struggle. And some of us were like, there was corruption, but the only difference is magnitude of that corruption. Because currently, there are resources being displayed at their disposal. But when you were in the bush, there were no such huge resources. So his resources also were limited to the few general. And I agree with you, of course, because after I read Rumbek conference 2004 minutes, most of these people currently in the government were the one finger pointing to the top leadership. And currently what they were saying is contrary to what they are doing now in the government. Thank you for that. To Honorable Joel, I have two follow-up questions, and you will respond 2 minutes, 2 minutes to Honorable Bol Agau. The question is, we have already identified that there is corruption everywhere in the country and in every government institution. As parliamentarian, have you ever summoned South Sudan Anti-Corruption Commission chairperson to ask him what is their role? Because this is the right commission to fight. No matter whatever it takes for them to fight, they're the right people to fight, and they're the right people to make noise, and you parliamentarian will join them. Collectively, then we can shed some more light. Can you tell us more? Did you ever engage with the South Sudan Anti-Corruption Commission? Honorable Joel, take lead.
Yes, I'm with you. Thank you very much for the question. Before we come to that, let me say briefly what we need in South Sudan, as Honorable Bol Agau said it, we need a strong punishment. And I propose death penalty. Those who corrupt, executed like what is done in China. You are taken to court. Once the court pronounced that you are corrupt and it is proved, you are taken to gallery to be executed. That one will be a solution. Second, individuals must be controlled in the system. Who is going to control are the citizens to stand with those individuals who are talking on their behalf. That is the only way. Otherwise, coming to your question, whether we have tried our best to have interaction with the officials in the Anti-Corruption Commission who are in charge of accountability to make sure that the system is accountable. We have interacted with them in different workshops. But what they are telling us is the same issue. Individuals are stronger than the system itself. For instance, anti-corruption is supposed to work in close coordination with the auditor chamber, so that when there is auditor report, the anti-corruption, it will be referred to anti-corruption after the parliament has it has been reported to the parliament. The parliament would summon the anti-corruption commissioners or the one in charge, the chairperson, to proceed, and they are supposed to be given powers to prosecute. However, in South Sudan, the system is rotating around the president. Whatever report is given must be given to the president. And the president can decide to remove the chairperson or whoever is critical with issues of corruption. This is what the law says. The auditor chamber must make a report and present it to the president of the parliament. Before it is going even to the parliament, it can be seen in the office of the president. So we have interacted with them, but they are powerless like any other citizens because they don't have powers to prosecute those who are corrupt. Because individuals have the system here. We don't have the system which is independent to make everybody accountable. Imagine the constitution is saying that anybody can be summoned in the parliament except the president. Now what is it? The president is not above the citizens. The representatives of the citizen are supposed even to summon the president to account for how he is running the country, and the citizen will be watching. But now it is the citizens who are accountable to the president because they cannot even summon the president. Now that is the whole thing here. We have been interacting with them, but they are powerless unless we amend this constitution or come up with a permanent constitution. That is when we shall only manage the system to hold everybody accountable. Otherwise, it is the system now which is accountable to individuals. That is the answer to your question.
Thank you.
Do we have
Thank you, Honorable.
Question?
Yeah, Honorable Bol Agau, take your 2 minutes.
I think the same question was asked last week, and I told you that Anti-Corruption Commission is a toothless dog. Why? Because it has not been empowered as an institution, because I said it does not have its own police. The executive has owned everything, including the police of this nation. The police of this nation will never arrest you unless it has been approved by the executive. The police of this nation, I would even say, does not know its role. That the police is used by the citizens to provide the security, provide harmony in you will find if I am accused of corruption and the police is sent to arrest me in my house, and I'm a very powerful general in the SPLA, in the SPLM liberation, it would be taken personal. Personally, I would say, let my community wait for that police, and this will even trigger a militia group. So there is a lot of threat within the powerful individuals that are suspected to be corrupt. And by the time you want to arrest such, you need a strong institution where the police is a national police, not a police that would morally argue, but this guy was with us in the bush, he deserves to have this money. So this patronage has gone into us to the extent that those who are suffering have accepted their suffering. So calling anti-corruption to ask them, what have you done? They have a lot of cases that could not hit to any meaningful conclusion, because there is no cooperation from the state to support, like what I was telling you. The zero tolerance to corruption is a statement, not an action towards corruption. It is not a statement that is against corruption. It is a statement to nerve you so that you feel that there is something coming out from the leadership. Why? Because the anti-corruption will only be very powerful one day when the president relieves a minister that has done something wrong, and then surrendering that person for investigation to the anti-corruption, not a committee. Have you seen what happened to Ezekiel Lul after being relieved? There was a committee formed to investigate him. Why would a committee be formed when there is anti-corruption in the country? An institution established by the law and recognized by the Constitution of the Republic of South Sudan. What do you need the committee for? What is it that the committee will do that the National Anti-Corruption Commission would not do? Why would you take the roles of an institution to a committee? After all this, the committee will be in Juba. Anti-corruption is in at the other side of Juba, and you want a committee. It would be better that you need a committee for something that happened in the state. Say, for example, in Eastern Equatoria State, where gold is being stolen, it is not realized in the fiscal year of the Ministry of Finance, year in, year out. We only talk of oil, and the gold is going to the market. As we speak, Uganda is shivering because the gold refinery in Entebbe is going to lose raw materials because things have soured in between. There is no more gold coming from Eastern Equatoria to Entebbe for processing. And you find there is a panic now in Uganda, whereby some leaders are saying, we have a gold mine somewhere. Where is it in Uganda that there is a gold mine? You talk of, we have 4.5. His Excellency, the President Museveni, was talking that they have a reserve of 4.5 billion US dollars gold reserve. Where is that gold in Uganda? Which district has gold? So corruption does not need a committee. If there is a suspect, like example, Ezekiel Lolu was suspected, and the committee, which actually died out without being recognized that it was formed, did not do its work, and the anti-corruption, which I support strongly, they have never been given the power to do their work. So it would be useful to ask a different question: why is anti-corruption not doing its work? Is there can they be engaged as an institution to know from them? But what we know, the parliament calling anti-corruption to ask them, why did you not do your work? It is about even asking the executive, why did you give the work of the anti-corruption to a committee?
Thank you, Honorable. The issue of corruption is a very huge topic, and it really it's like we really need to schedule another debate for it. And South Sudanese should hear more in regard to corruption issue, because corruption involves the hyperinflation, the price in the market, and how the government always reconstituted the fiscal year financial budget, like what you mentioned, Honorable Bol. Basically, South Sudan Anti-Corruption Commission, as all of us are aware, they don't have power. And you have cited a very good example and a fresh example of Ambassador Ezekiel Lul. The committee was formed, and during the committee formation, I asked myself the same question that you posed, Honorable Bol, that what is the work of South Sudan Anti-Corruption Commission? Because I used to go to the office 2017, 2018, until I gave up in 2019, not to visit them anymore. I know what is happening within the office of South Sudan Anti-Corruption Commission. Sometimes you can go there and you meet only gateman. Only gateman you can find in the office. Nobody is there. So it's sometimes it's good, but we really need them to.
Of course, if the gateman were to be in the house, you would not find anybody in the anti-corruption commission, because the staff don't even have money to come to the office. There's no transport. So it is one of the most affected commission in the government agencies. Their budget is in figures. They don't get money, just like other commissions and chambers. A friend of mine in the employee justice chamber was coming to me because their budget is and you know what is 24 to run an office for 1 year. And you don't get that money also, because there's no money in the Ministry of Finance.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry.
That's true.
For getting into your time.
Yeah, it's okay. That's true.
Not working.
Yeah, but what most of citizens request South Sudan Anti-Corruption Commission to do is to document all these scandals that are happening. Because in the long run, South Sudan will not continue in this trajectory for the next 25 years or 15 years. The leadership will change. And if the leadership change, someone may come up and try to put things in order. So, but we really need those documents to be kept safe and also file them up. But now they're so frustrated.
May I come?
Yeah, to the extent they cannot even compile or document any scandal.
What I wanted to say, as Honorable, yes, as Honorable Bol Agau put it, SPLM, SPLA, or SPLA, SPLM originally was corrupt, but because of the system in the bush, there was no accountability. Now our problem has been amplified or increased because of money. So we are even not assessing the conduct of individuals to know whether they are corrupt politically, because they are concentrating on money. At the same time, if we are not careful with the current SPLM, they will still bring the same leaders, because they are bringing up the same leaders of the same caliber. Unless we, the citizens, of the citizens, leave alone politicians, are able to know who are the correct leaders in the SPLM system. The SPLM is now segregating those who are capable. They are no longer in the system. And in the same way, they are bringing the same people of the same feathers, as they have said in English, the bird of the same feathers flock together. The capable leaders in the SPLM party are being blocked out because of the same. You only get, unless somebody is hiding, maybe the rule of power to be submissive, and later will appear, which we don't take chances. It is the population of the country to make sure that at this time they have to go by individuals leaders in the country. And that is when the SPLM, if the SPLM is going, which I doubt, will not have power for the next 25 years. It is other group which will come in to take power. That is when this country will run. Otherwise, if you need the same SPLM members to take power, you will still have the same problems because the leaders they are bringing up now are the leaders who don't even question the system. And you will never get a leader who does not question the system being a leader. A leader must be critical and it must be promoted, be brought up on that ground that if we are going today, this person must take over to make the system even better than what we have done. But if you are taking those leaders who are worse than you because they obey you, what do you expect? The SPLM will still be in crisis, and that is what I have been saying. If we don't correct the SPLM system, we'll never be in peace. South Sudan will never be in peace because SPLM is like a religion. We shall keep on breaking up, and the core will remain, and that core will keep on disturbing the whole system. So the SPLM is founded on corruption, lies, and deception. Unless we correct that to deal with the truth, nothing will work in South Sudan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable. You are very right on that point, that there is recruitment that is taking place. They are recruiting the younger ones, especially your generations and our generation, they are recruiting them. So literally, people are not even hoping that there is good person. And it is true, citizens are even now confused who is the right person and who is the wrong person, because we see their faces and they are equally the same. Thank you for that. Yeah, we'll close it that way and we move to the controversial project that has really caused a lot of South Sudanese cry out for the last few weeks, and that is none other than Jonglei Canal project resumption, which was initiated in 1907, and the same SPLA had a courage by then to took up arm against Khartoum regime and posed the project. Now Egyptian has come back negotiating, trying to make their way in and be given go ahead to complete their project. And many citizens are talking about it. So we really need you as our national MPs to tell us your perspective, because you are people's representative in the parliament. So what do you think about Jonglei Canal? Honorable Bol Agau, you will take lead, and then Honorable Joul will follow you. We are not hearing you, Honorable.
Unmute yourself. Yeah, you are muted down there. Unmute yourself first.
Unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself, Honorable Bol. Unmute yourself. You are muted. You are still muted, and I cannot do it on my side.
There is a mic. There is a small mic on your left-hand side. So you press it on your phone to unmute yourself.
It's showing canceling. So you uncancel it. It shows cancel.
Are you?
So you click.
Yes.
Yes, now it's all right.
Are you getting me?
Yes, you
Loud.
are now clear.
Yes, we are not
Wonderful.
getting it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I guess the
Now your
network.
network is bad today.
I guess the network has interfered with our. Yeah, maybe Isaac, you can drop him so that he can also come back again. Yeah. So while we are waiting for Honorable Bol Agau to come back, I think I can give floor to Honorable Juol to give us his opinions in regard to Jonglei Canal resumption alongside the duration that is taking place in Unity State. Honorable Joel, take your
Yes,
mic.
think. Okay, I saw some commentators or those who are making a comments saying that we the national MPs need to be serious about Jonglei Canal, which is right. As you have already mentioned, the issue of Jonglei Canal is started in 19th century. That was 1907 or at that time. The reason was that at that time, South Sudan, I mean Sudan as a whole, before South Sudan became independent or before Sudan became independent, because you know Sudan was colonized under the joint rule, the rule between Britain and Egypt. That was what we call Anglo-Egyptian rule, condominium rule. This is the joint rule. When they came up, these people were managing it the way they think can benefit them. So Egypt was having interest in Nile because they have discovered already that Nile is beneficial to them. And Egypt, I mean, the British government or colonial administrators were looking at how they can benefit because they were not caring about what other other parts of the region would be, even if they are destroyed, as long as they are benefiting or as long as they were benefiting. This is how Jonglei Canal came up. So this issue of Jonglei Canal started in 19th century and is still a topic today. In 1929, the same Anglo-Egyptian government came up with the agreement. An agreement benefited Egypt. Absolutely, Egypt became the sole master of the controlling the whole Nile from Uganda, which the source of River Nile is in Rwanda, coming to all these what we call riparian countries. These are 11 countries which are interested in Nile. So by that time they were under the British control. So the British could not even consult the other countries to have their views or their positions being taken into account during that agreement of 1929. Before many countries became independent in 1959, like Uganda became independent in 1962, plus Kenya 1963, all these British went into agreement. British government, I mean Egypt and Sudan went into agreement and they tried to modify the previous agreement of 1929. This agreement again gave Egypt the absolute power to use greater volume of water compared to Sudan. And now it is that agreement of 1959 which was built on the agreement of 1929, which is giving Egypt the, the absolute power to control River Nile. Is the one which the Egypt is now insisting and is the one is trying to make sure that the water is under its control. And it is because of that control, because water is power. Once the Egypt has controlled the whole region, the whole water of the Nile, because we have two sources of Nile now, sources of water from Egypt. We have Blue Nile, which is coming from Lake Tana, passing through Ethiopia, which is the major contributor of water to Egypt. And then our River Nile, which all of them they meet in Sudan. These two sources, they meet in Sudan, and then they channel water to Egypt, and from Egypt it ends in Mediterranean Sea. So all this, Egypt is looking for a way how to control this water, and the best way is to use South Sudan in the center, because now Egypt is interested to control. Once it has controlled the water of
My
in
network
the
disappeared.
region, Great Lakes region, at that point, all the countries will be weak. And this is likely to cause, even because I was reading, I read a lot around this topic. And there is a likelihood that it may create security. Insecurity may come in, or the countries will be interested to fight. This is a matter of necessity. The countries which are interested, the 11 countries, will not allow one country to control this water. And that was the reason in 2002 they came up with what we call NBI, Nile Based Initiative. This was done to share the water of the Nile equitably. But now in South Sudan, as you have been hearing, there are two things which the government of Egypt is capitalizing in. We don't have a system which can assess first before we give them rights. So they are using this advantage to deal with individuals in the government offices. These individuals are going to sign the contract without even approval from the parliament. And this is a national resource. The national resource must be approved by the members of parliament to make sure that before it is approved, the report assessment, environmental impact assessment must be carried out and then assessed. Because now it is not bad to dredge the river because we have seen the flood. But we must make sure that the dredging should not have a negative impact on us in the future. That is the most important thing. We are not opposing it, that it should not be dredged, but we are opposing the way it is being done now. It is going to satisfy the interests of Egypt. No any country in this world like Egypt will do anything which is the best interest of South Sudan without it benefiting more than South Sudan. That is a lie. This is a diplomatic issue or international diplomatic relation. The country always struggle for the interest of its own country. So the whole thing is that dredging of the Nile is now another way of, if the Jonglei Canal has become another topic, they are trying to find a way how to channel this water to the Nile. Once it is channeled to the Nile, every water that will come will not, even the third region or the third will dry up because the water will be coming from East Africa direct to the Nile and to Egypt. So the whole thing is, if Egypt was interested in helping people of South Sudan, we have another rivers which are now dried up because there is this damming. They have now become shallower, and the water does not stop there, and people always face a lot of issues of water during the dry season. Why don't they go to these rivers and make them deeper if they are just doing dredging? But why are they interested in doing this and trying to go into controlling the government officials? You have seen now the Egyptian government has even given the government of South Sudan a free land in Egypt. A country will not do that without a greater interest. A free land in Egypt, the government of South Sudan will no longer pay rent. It will go and have embassy free. And Egypt was not our friend initially. They were the one supporting Umar al-Bashir against South Sudan. What is their interest now? They were supporting Umar al-Bashir because they believe that Umar will protect the source of Nile and they will be benefiting. After now, the South Sudan has become an independent country. Now they are coming in again to cooperate with South Sudan to see how to destroy South Sudan indirectly. Our point is, one, South Sudan need to be careful because this issue of Nile plus waters is a matter of national importance. Because if we allow Egypt, the other countries may even invade South Sudan to make sure that Egypt does not go on, because the other countries will be affected. And according to the rule of international law, they can intervene. This is a matter of national security. Second, before we go on to dredge the area, we have another parts of South Sudan. If these areas have become flooded and we are not able to make our own assessment, why don't we take these citizens who are being affected, tell them to go and settle until we manage this area first, before, instead of giving these Egyptians the system to do it without us understanding what happened, and later we will be affected without knowing it. But the people of Upper Nile now, plus the Unity State, are being affected seriously. Now they are believing that they are being supported. And our argument is simple. The Egyptian government, plus the individuals in the government, are cooperating to make sure that this one has gone through because of the vulnerability of the people. People don't understand. And individual MPs will be forced again to take up action, either to go on demonstration or to make sure that we go to court, East African Court of Justice, to make sure that this issue and address and the activities going on, we put injunction until we are in a position to assess. So the issue of water, Nile water is the most important thing that all the people of South Sudan must take interest. It's not the issue that people are being supported because we are the one who what is the interest for our people, what is the best interest of our people, not the Egyptian government, because the Egyptian government is working for the interests of their people and they will never do anything that can affect their people and support our people. It will not work. This is a matter of public national interest. Every nation has the interest of its citizens. So when you see them going on, we are not in line, we are not happy with what is happening, and we will do all means to make sure that the public understand what is happening so that we stand up with the public to oppose it. Until us will go back.
I guess Honorable have issues or has issues with the internet. Honorable Bol Agau, thank you for coming back.
Yes.
You can take over, and while we are waiting for him to come
Make
back.
sure that citizens are taught, because you cannot fight
All right,
the
it's
war.
already here. Go on, Honorable Joel.
Honorable Joel has internet obstacles. I believe we have to drop him and come back again. Let Honorable Bol Agau pick up from there.
That's true.
Yeah, thank
Honorable
you.
Bol, take
I was
over.
to start, but my internet was off. The whole Zain network was off. These are the challenges. Those are part of the challenges that we have to experience in South Sudan. We are comfortable with them because there's nothing much we can do until things change. You know about the dredging and the canal. You know the canal is a little bit hot potato. Nobody wanted to touch it as such, but there are rumors, people talking about the resumption, and because the canal is actually situated in a historical community. The Jonglei community is historical. They keep records. This is not to be biased on the Jonglei community by praising them, but most of the times when you run through the history of the Republic of South Sudan, you will find those who are very mindful of our issues. The people of Jonglei always would have the history of what happened. You know, the canal, a lot of documents came up when it was rumored to be resumed. What happened in 1980s was not an accident. It was meant by the founders of the SPLA, SPLM, that the project of Jonglei Canal must be halted by all means. And they used all their means to stop it. And what happened? There were people who were killed. And those who were killed were South Sudanese because they were fighting for the people of South Sudan not to be left in the desert. Why? Because there was a way of taking the water directly to Egypt. You know about the dredging contract was drawn in secrecy until the people were shown what was happening by the existence of big machines being carried by long trucks towards Bentiu. You know, I wanted to say something about this regime. It is inclusive of all other political parties, not only the SPLM. The SPLM is known for what it does best. It does the worst for the people and does the best for individuals. I would like to say, if a regime, a government that does not care for its people, there's no welfare. It does not take care of the health of the people. It does not take care of the economic activities of the people. It does not take care of the future of the people. That one, we cannot call it a government. I would term it an organized crime. You know, when you have organized criminals, they are sitting together. They don't have a future. They want what they want now. And that is exactly what happened with the dredging contract. Few individuals, these are inclusive of SPLM-IO, Minister of Water and Irrigation. They agreed to sign a pact for dredging with Egypt. If it were another country, I would excuse them. Why? Because I want to take you back to the history. Egypt has never meant anything good for this country. When the Turks came for the slaves and the ivory and the gold, the Egyptians were the one aiding them and behaving as the tour guides into the interior of the Republic of Sudan, which became where South Sudan was part of the Sudan. These guys came, and we know their history because we are an oral community. We don't have books recorded where the Turks did what they did to us. They are in songs, like in my hometown. They are taught where I come from. They face them. They used to call them Malwaltit. Malwaltit was the Turk, because the English came later on and we gave it a different name, you know. So when the Egyptians were supporting the Turks, they were not supporting them to develop the South and the Sudan. They were looking for slaves, ivory, and gold. Now, when the Turks left, what happened? The British came, the English. You have known the condominium, the Anglo-Egyptian. There is Turco-Egyptian, there is Anglo-Egyptian. Why is Egypt always coming with someone that is coming for bad into the Sudan? Right from the beginning, history tells us that Egypt has never meant anything good for us. And currently, as we speak, the dredging is a project funded by Egypt, implemented by Egypt, and the machines are from Egypt. There is nothing that we have paid as a country. The intention of the dredging is an idea of Egypt, not the idea of South Sudan as a republic. The contract is a secret pact between individuals and Egypt, not the government, because a government must be represented by its people, and its people are in the parliament. The representatives of the people that would be affected by an action or a program, a project of a government must be known by the representatives of the people who are the parliament. Though this parliament is nominated by parties parliament, it still represents people, because parties are made of people of the Republic of South Sudan. We are the people. So if we don't know, like the Ministry of Environment clearly came out that they were not involved, and look at this scenario, a great project that would involve environmental factors, you could not factor in the Ministry of Environment. What would it mean that you are doing something for the people and other institutions are not aware? The presidency denying, while the ambassador of Egypt, who was in the meeting, is showing on his Twitter the photos he had where the president was present. The vice president, Dr. James Wani, was the one who signed the MOU, and this one got exposed, while the presidency, through Atany, speaking a different thing altogether, that they don't know anything about the dredging. while the dredging machines are sitting in Bentiu. Let me give you another fact here. You know, the 2 years flood that have been happening in July, August, September, October, then from November, December, they subside. Do you know that the floods are not brought by the rains? The floods are not brought by the rains. Why? Because in Egypt, in Misr, there are some things called sluices. Sluices are water gates. They close the water gates so that the water does not flow to the Mediterranean Sea. When the water is blocked, there is a backflow. And when there is a backflow, geographically, we are at the lower level of the valley. The Nile Valley is the lowest in Lake State, in Jonglei State, in Unity State. This is the Sud. The Sud always retains water. But when there is a backflow, because water has been blocked, it becomes a flood. When it becomes a flood, it affects people. But this was intentionally done by Egypt to convince those who don't know and those who will connive with them that there is flood, and the solution is to get more water to Egypt by creating dredging projects and then the canal. The flood was a punishment from Egyptian government and the people, so that we are convinced the flood will only be stopped if there is dredging. But this is a quest. It is a quest for more water. It is not a flood. It should be accepted by the people of South Sudan. We are being cheated using intelligence, because we are not intelligent. We are led by leaders who don't read into the history. Leaders who don't recognize that there is something wrong with what we are doing. Leaders that don't want to involve the people that they lead. Leaders that assume that it is them only that should be given the priority to make decisions without involving others. When these sluices are closed in Egypt, they are closed when rainy seasons are starting.